Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Get all your latest professional wrestling news and updates. AEW, Impact Wrestling, WWE, NXT, live viewing parties with eWrestling News fans. Don't miss out. Go to eWrestlingNews.com today. The best damn wrestling site on the planet. I've been watching wrestling for over 30 years. Professional wrestling is in my blood. Inside this box, there are thousands of professional wrestling cards. So many legends and superstars have come and passed, while some still have a long ways to go. These cards are a true testament of time for every bit of blood, sweat, and tears. Today we travel back through the years to the 1991 World Championship Wrestling Marketing Card Set on this exciting episode of Superstars with Cards. The classics, the rookies, the legends. Wrestling cards are back. Bigger than ever. Gaming News Empire presents Superstars on Cards. Alright, on today's episode of Superstars on Cards, and I hope you guys have been enjoying the series because it's been one heck of a project. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 1991 Championships Marketing World Championship Wrestling Card Set. So, WCW cards from 1991, 30 years old, traveling back in time. This is going to be fun. We're going to see lots of classic stuff here, maybe some Ric Flair cards, some Sting cards. What a great card set this is. Before we show off the card set, let's head over to the Wrestle Vessel for top wrestling cards of the week. It's time for another Wrestle Vessel report. Top wrestling cards of the week.
All right, thanks for those kind words, Aftershock. Here we are again with the cards of the week from the Wrestle Vessel. I know he's giving you some good presentation on some cool WCW 91 cards, but I'm going to talk about today a little bit about some of the common ones. I actually have a box set back from when I was a kid here, this little purple box, and the cards came out in mostly with like yellow, green, or red borders. Okay, so some of these are pretty interesting cards. And I have all of them in this box, but I also kept a couple of set aside in the binder, so I'll just take those ones out for now so you can see a few of them. Some of these I mailed away. So like this was sent away to Dirty Dutch Mantel, and he signed that. He signed a bunch of them as Dirty Dutch, so he signed that one right there. And these ones he signed the back. You see, as the back, they put little borders like saying what your height, what your weight is, things like that. Your Sting. And they really, just so you guys know, they really mass-produced these 91 cards. They're pretty easy to get a hold of. There's still some cool cards within the set, though. So you got Lex Luger. I think he was still babyface when these were made. I'm not positive, though. Sid, who was in the Horsemen. Ric Flair, he was in the Horsemen, too. And Arn Anderson was in the Horsemen. You got Brian Pillman. It's crazy to think, I know recently they talked about Dark Side of the Ring, his son, Brian Pillman Jr., how much the son looks a lot like, young Brian, so it's pretty crazy, like how much he resembles him. The Z-Man Tom Zink, he passed away a few years ago. We got Terry Taylor, another Dutch Mantel. There's Michael Wall Street, who was IRS, and as you can see again, like I said, the back of these has a little bio with the guy's pictures. A couple more here. We got El Gigante, which is Giant Gonzalez. We got Tommy Rich. We got Ricky Morton. The Steiner Brothers, the Freebirds, the Southern Boys, who became the Young Pistols. That was Tracy Smothers and Steve Armstrong. We got Doom, Butch Reed and Ron Simmons, Teddy Long, Jim Ross. So, again, they put some cool pictures of the guys in the back. And They also made ones of like Missy Hyatt too. Okay. So those are some of examples of those cards. I just go through this one card. It's like a little bit of a checklist I saw before. If I can find it again, I might have misplaced it. There it is. All right. Yeah. So they made. This is like the checklist card for this. All right. I don't think this goes up to all of them. This is like 1 through 94, but there's other ones in there too. So they made a whole bunch of Sting, a bunch of Lugers, Sids, Flairs, Andersons, Pillman, Z-Man, Terry Taylor, Dutchman. So basically everyone I kind of showed you. El Gigante, Wall Street, Tommy Rich. There's Missy Hyatt and Jim Ross in there. So some cool cards from 91. Like I said, they're pretty common, but good thing to send out to get autographs or something like that. And we'll go hear back from the more rare 91 WCW cards from my buddy the Aftershock back in New York.
Alright, so before we show off these cards right here, let's get some interesting, amazing facts from Zay Morning from Wrestling with Cards. And don't forget to subscribe to his YouTube channel and the Wrestle Vessel as well. The links are down below. Some really cool stuff coming up here, so stay tuned. Live from the Wrestling Card Control Center. Wrestling with Cards' very own Zan Morning.
What's up, wrestling fans? I'm Zan from Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. Today's card set that we're looking at is the 1991 WCW Championship Marketing Set. Many call this set the black and gold set because it's a black card with a border of gold stars. All the big names from WCW that you would expect from the early to mid-90s are featured in this set. Sting, Ric Flair, the Steiner Brothers, Arn Anderson, just to name a few. This set also features some key iconic first/rookie cards, whatever you want to call them, of a few names, most notably Paul Heyman, which I'm a huge fan of, and Flying Brian Pillman. There are also some promo cards produced in this set, and the differences that you can tell on those is that on the back of the cards it has printed 1990 instead of 1991. And with these promo cards, if you're one of those rookie card chasers who wants to get really technical on what was the first card, what came first, maybe these promo cards are a chase for you. The design of these cards has also been borrowed by a few different indie promotions who wanted to put out their own cards. So sit back and get ready for a trip back to the beginning of the decade, 1990s, with these 1991 WCW Championship marketing cards. And when you're done watching this awesome video, if you want some more great wrestling card content, head over to my channel, Wrestling with Cards on YouTube. Let's get to wrestling.
Alright, here we go. We're going to be taking a look at the 1991 Championship marketing set for WCW World Championship Wrestling. Let's see if I can get down here and show you guys what we have here. It's a total of 110 cards. You see right here on the custom checklist, and I'm wearing gloves today because I actually cut myself while doing other work on trying to put a seat cover on a vehicle. See right here, the first cards on the first page right here. We have Sting right there on top. We have Arn Anderson, Michael P.S. Hayes, Rick Steiner, the Fabulous Freebird, the Steiner Brothers right here with their dog, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, and Tom Zink. And you can see right away these cards look pretty cool. They have like the black border with the gold stars going around it. Now there was also some promo cards that released that looked quite similar to this, that were WCW cards that came out in 1990. Now those cards were not numbered whatsoever, so if you find those cards, they're actually, I don't know exactly how many cards are in that set. It's not really a set, they're all promo cards. They're all not numbered. Like these cards right here, you can see on the back that they're numbered. Alright, and the next set of cards we have right here, let's see if we can pull this down here so you can see it a little bit better. Alright, who do we have here? We have Sid Vicious. That's a crazy looking Sid Vicious card. He's like strapped into like some sort of, I don't know what that is, some sort of contraption. It makes him look really nuts. Must be some sort of gimmick that they were doing back then. Back in the day, I did not have access to watching WCW back in the early 90s. We did not have that on our cable system yet. For whatever reason, we didn't have TBS. I lived over in Connecticut, so that might have been something to do with Connecticut being WWF territory. That could be it, but you never know. We have Brian Pillman right here. Ric Flair stomping the crap out of somebody. Looks like maybe Paul Orndorff. I'm not sure. We got another Sid Vicious card right here. He's choking the crap out of somebody. That 4 Horsemen. Then we have a classic Jim Ross card right there. Currently with AEW. Got a Ron Simmons card. Barry Windham. And another Sid Vicious card. So we have it looks like 3 Sid Vicious cards on this page. And they're scattered. Usually in card sets they're like kind of next to each other, but that's not the case in this one. And on the next page right here, it looks like we have another Sid Vicious card. We have Sting. We have beautiful Bobby Punish's opponent right there. That's the description of that card. And we have a really cool image of Sting right after he just won the World Championship belt right there. You can see the championship belt really close up. That's a nice looking belt. And here is a close-up of that belt. You can see it right here. Such a nice looking belt. And then right here we have Paul E. with mouth open. That's a hilarious card right there. Looks like it's about ready to bite someone's head off. Then we have Michael P.S. Hayes coming out. And he's strutting himself to the ring. And then we have Scott Steiner doing a powerful clothesline right there. Right here on the bottom. And then we have Rick Steiner coming out to the ring. With Scott Steiner behind him. And we have Arn Anderson with the World TV Championship belt. So far, these cards are pretty good. Now, once again, there is a batch of 1990 cards that look quite similar to this. They're promo cards, and if you find any of those will be quite nice to collect because those cards are not numbered whatsoever. They actually look pretty much identical to these, but they have no number on the back. Anyway, we have Barry Windham with arm raised. I'm gonna read that for a second. I had to actually look a little bit closer. Got Tommy Rich. And we have a classic Ricky Morton card right there. Here we have a Horseman press conference happening right there, and that card right here in the center. Then we have the Freebirds. Look at the paint they have on their face. You probably can't do that anymore. I got Terry Taylor on the very end right there, and then we have Dirty Dutch Mantel on the bottom. You have Nature Boy Ric Flair with one of his fancy robes right there on the very bottom. That is a nice looking robe. And then we have Lex presses Ric Flair. You can see like all the muscles bulging out of him, like his legs, his freaking abs and everything. And on the next page right here we have Lex Luger and Sting. We have a Brian Pillman card, except Brian Pillman is actually getting his ass beat by Ric Flair, and that's not exactly the greatest Brian Pillman card in the world, but there it is. And then we have Ric Flair, woo! Right there, he's strutting. You can see Sid Vicious in the background photobombed that card. Look at that. Yeah, Sid Vicious right there. We have a Sting and Lex Luger standing together. Some classic Sting attire. And Miss Hyatt right there on the microphone. And then we have a 3 out of the 4 horsemen walking to the ring. They have the fancy pyro in the background. Now down here on the bottom we have Sid Vicious in action. It looks like he's about ready to rip that guy's head off. We have Terry Taylor versus the Z-Man right there in the bottom. And then we have the Southern Boys. And of course, I'm not familiar with Southern boys or anything like that. I did not get to watch WCW back then, so I have some of these cards I'm not familiar with. Alright, right there on the top, we have Sting. And then we have Ric Flair freaking out. I believe that's Brian Pillman's trunks right there. And the caption is, "What did you say?" And they kind of made like a little meme out of Ric Flair right there, based on his facial expression. It's pretty cool. And we have Arn Anderson, Paul E., and Ric Flair standing together being interviewed. And down right here in the center, we have Sting. A great portrait of Sting. It's definitely not... most of these cards take place like in the ring, but this one's actually like a studio shot right there. That's pretty cool. Then we have, looks like Sid Vicious violating Lex Luger and making him say uncle right there. It looks like a vicious bear hug. And then we have Paul E. Dangerously with the pink shirt on. And I believe he's holding that big clunky cell phone. I believe that's what that is. I'm not sure. And then we have Sting and Ric Flair right here on the bottom, having a showdown. And this is pretty cool looking face paint by on Sting right there. Looks pretty awesome. And then on the very, very bottom in the center, we have Sting, Jim Ross, and Lex Luger. I'm not certain on what belt Lex Luger is wearing, but he's wearing a pretty cool looking belt. And then we have the Sting with the world title on right there. It's another like meme looking thing right there. Before memes existed, what about? And they basically are referring to that world championship over there. That's one of the best looking belts of all time. And right there on the very top, we have Sting versus somebody. I can't quite make out who that is, but it says Sting on it. And then in the center, we have Ric Flair, all in white. It's a really, really nice looking robe right there. Very classic Ric Flair robe. And then we have, once again, the Lex Luger Press Slams Ric Flair Part 2. I guess this is the second Press Slam. And then we have El Gigante standing there, and he looks like he's about ready to do something to somebody. Perhaps the referee, I'm not sure. And then we have Arn Anderson says, "My turn." We have more of these classic wrestling memes right here. And it looks like Arn Anderson is about ready to do something to somebody right there. I'm not sure what. And we have Sid Vicious ripping someone's face off again. How many Sid Vicious cards exist of him ripping someone's face off? There's a lot of them. And then right here we have Brian Pillman and Ric Flair. And Ric Flair kind of looks chunky in that picture. I'm not sure why, but he looks kind of fat. Alright, let's see if I can position myself a little bit better here because I'm a little cramped. Alright, we have Frying Blind Brian Pillman. He's doing a like a frog splash off the top rope right there. And we have the Fabulous Freebirds doing a maneuver right there on the very bottom. I would say we probably have maybe halfway through. And then right there on the top we have Sid Vicious, and it looks like that might be El Gigante. I'm not sure. Yeah, that is El Gigante, because the next card right there, he's wearing the same exact attire. It's El Gigante, and that next card right there, and then we have Ric Flair being interviewed by Jim Ross, and we have Sting right there as well. Then on the next card, we have Ric Flair holding the world title, and it says, "No, it's mine," referring to the world title. And then we have Sting standing right there with Jim Ross. And then right there in the center, we have another fantastic looking Ric Flair robe. It's golden, and it says "Golden Nature Boy." And this card set really shows off a lot of Ric Flair's fancy robes back then. And that's one of them right there, that golden looking robe. And the next card is Miss Hyatt and Scott Steiner walking to the ring together. That was before Scott Steiner was known as The Freak. Big Papa Pump. And then right there on the very bottom, the left side, we have Ron Simmons, the first black African American heavyweight champion in wrestling. He won that, I believe it was '93. He won the world title. So this card set was before he even won the world title. And then right there on the bottom, the telephone actually gets its own card. That's not a Paul Heyman card, that's a telephone card. The telephone made so many appearances in WCW that it got its own card. Look at that. That's pretty hilarious. Then we have Jimmy Jam Garvin right there on the bottom right side with the cool looking glasses. Look at that. Some classic looking retro 80s glasses. On the next page, right there on the top left hand side, once again we have more amazing looking Ric Flair robes. It's a pink robe this time. And the next card right there, we have Beautiful Bobby right there with his green trunks, silver reflective jacket on. And we have Lex Luger pounding the crap out of it looks like Ric Flair, I think. And it might be somebody else. Let me just see who that is. That looks like it might be Ricky Morton or something. I'm not sure. Can't quite say who it is. It might be Ric Flair. Right there in the center, we have Z-Man. He is holding a title of some sort. I can't quite make out which title that is, but it's an NWA title. And now, once we get closer, you guys can probably see which title that is. We have Ric Flair climbing a huge cage. And back then, WCW had some crazy looking cages, and look at that cage. That made the blue WWF shark cage look like a tiny little structure in whatever that cage is. And the caption says, "Where's the door?" So I'm not even sure if that cage even had a door on it. And back then, I actually never got to see any of those cage matches, so I'm not sure exactly. It looks massive. I mean, look at that thing. Then the next card, we have El Gigante. And of course, right there on the bottom, once again, we have another shot of Ric Flair wearing his pink robe. And then the next card, the 6-time world champion, Ric Flair. So at the time that this card set was being printed, he was the 6-time world champion. And there's another robe right there. And I believe this was around the time right before he went to WWF. And he basically took that belt with him. And that is the belt right there that he took with him to WWF, and he was carrying it with him everywhere he went, proclaiming himself as the real world champion. And the next card is Miss Hyatt. Alright, right there on the top we have a celebration for Sting. He won the world championship. What a classic moment for WCW back then. And then we have the USA Sting attire. That was, I believe, the same attire that he wore to win the world title. That was exactly the match he had when he won the world title back then. And then we have a Sting is injured card. And I'm not exactly sure what occurred in that capture right there. The Sting, he looks like he's being stretchered out. And then we have another Sting card right there in the middle. It's Let's Get Busy. It looks like Sting's about ready to beat somebody up. And he's holding the NWA title. I'm not sure which NWA title that is, but that is an NWA title of some sort. Then in the center, we have Sting with a what looks like a broken leg. And he's standing outside the ring trying to hold himself up. Not exactly the greatest card in the world, but it says Courage of a Champion. So I'm guessing that he might have had the championship belt at that time that his leg got injured. And then the next card we have Paul Heyman. Okay, once again he's on his phone. So that's Paul Heyman. And on the very bottom we have, once again, Lex Luger press slamming Ric Flair for the 3rd time. And they actually put number 3 on it too, because this basically the 3rd time we did it. And with the next card is Barry Windham's is standing there, and that would definitely be a great meme card right there. This expression and his hands out like, what the hell is going on here? And then once again, it looks like we have Lex Luger possibly doing another press slam on Ric Flair. I'm not sure, or maybe tossing him off the top ropes. This is another famous thing that Ric Flair does. All right. At the very top right there, we have the U.S. Heavyweight Champion. This is the classic U.S. title. So I'm guessing that's an NWA title right there. That's probably the title that we saw earlier that we weren't too sure what it was. That's Lex Luger. Alright, then we have getting ready to battle. That looks... who the hell is this? Let me see here. Is that Lex Luger? Apparently that's Lex Luger. I never saw him wear that attire before. I thought for a second it was like Shane Douglas or something. And then we have Lex Luger wins the title at the very top right there. And then in the second row of cards right there, we have Ric Flair goes too far, and I guess that's probably when Ric Flair breaks Sting's leg, or maybe he wants to break it again. And again, and again. Look at him, he's going crazy. The next card we have El Gigante with Sting, and Sting looks like a midget next to him. Look at that. Tiny. Alright, we have Z-Man right there. And Z-Man is just chilling, relaxing, and on the very bottom row right there we have the World Tag Team Champions. I believe that they were known as Doom. You have Ron Simmons right there, and with their manager, Holla player. And we have Missy Hyatt in an evening gown walking to the ring. And back then, I mean, look at, and this shot in particular, you can see like how sophisticated WCW's stage setups were back then. That was back in the early 90s. It made the WWF stages look like crap. Like, they looked way, way better. And the last card on this page is Miss Hyatt doing a little studio pose right there with her glasses. Fancy. Alright, and the next page right here. Make sure this camera is focused. Alright, we have Tony Schiavone in front of a Chicago building. I'm not sure what he's doing there, but he's standing in front of a Chicago building. And then we have a classic Ricky Morton card right there, Rock and Roll Express. And then we have Flying Brian Pillman right there on the top with his tiger trunks. And right there in the center we have Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner walking to the ring. And once again, you can see the big differences right there with their stage setup. The stages and the production that they had appeared to be much more sophisticated and better than WWF back then. They had much larger stages and stuff. The second card right there in the center, we got Z-Man standing there. And then the next card, we have Southern Boys doing a massive dropkick. Looks like they might be doing a dropkick off the top rope. Alright, right there on the bottom left-hand side, we have Teddy Long clapping. And then the next card right there, we have Arn Anderson in action. He's trying to break someone. It looks like they might be fighting Doom, I'm not sure. And then we have Sting in action, hip tossing. It looks like Ric Flair. And the last two cards right here, we have Doom making their way to the ring. And once again, you can see like pretty cool looking stage setup in the background with the lighting and everything. It looks way, way better than your average WWF shows from back then. And then the last card right there, we have Ric Flair. And that card, I could have sworn, is this a repeat? Yeah, that's a repeat card. I was gonna say, I could have sworn I saw that card already. That is a total of 110 cards. And there we go, that is the WCW World Championship Wrestling 91 marketing set. And that is it. And of course, this is the Impel set right here, which we already did a video on that, so don't forget to check that out. But we have more videos coming soon. Tons and tons of stuff. So don't forget to check out Zan Morning's Wrestling with Cards YouTube page, the Wrestle Vessel, and eWrestlingNews.com for some more updates and awesome wrestling material. They also have a lot more detail on these videos once they get posted on eWrestling News, so don't forget to check that out and leave a comment on their page. Eventually you'll see the link down below. And stay tuned for the next episode of Superstars on Cards.